Hand stitching a little pillow is easy. First, get your inspiration and idea, and then you're going to want to make a pattern using some tissue paper. You can see I folded my paper so that I will have a symmetrical shape. After sketching my preliminary pattern, I'm going to make sure that my pattern fits on the piece of fabric that I have. Here I needed to alter the shape of my pattern to fit the fabric, so I'm going to redraw it. Since I want my pattern to be symmetrical on both sides, I'm going to fold it and then cut out the pattern. In this case, my piece of fabric, I'm going to fold it so I will have a front and back side, and I will pin the pattern to the felt. Carefully cut your shape out of the felt fabric with sewing scissors. Scraps and excess materials can go in the collage boxes underneath the table. Now that I have a top and bottom, I want to add some embellishments to the top portion of my pattern. I'm sketching out the embellishment shapes on my original pattern, and I will cut from there. I'm going to follow the same process by pinning my pieces onto the fabric I need and cutting them out. Please notice that I am cutting pieces from the corner of the fabric so that I'm not wasting a lot of material. Now that I'm ready to sew, it's time to thread my needle. I'm going to hold the thread in between my pointer finger and my thumb, and I'm going to place the eye of the needle on top of the thread. I pull the thread through, and at the ends, I will tie it around my finger and roll it off my finger, pulling the twisties down to make a knot. I want to sew my decorative pieces first. So the first thing I'm going to do is sew on my button. I'm going to hold the piece together and put that needle up through one of the holes and then back down, pulling tightly but not too tight. And I will repeat that process. Now that my button is secure, I'm going to have the thread and tie it around the button a couple of times to secure it, and then go through the front of the felt and make a knot on the back. To make a knot, I'm going to go through the front to the back, find myself on the back, make a small stitch and go through the loop. Make another small stitch and put my needle through that loop, which is like tying a knot. To add the mask of my owl, I'm going to use a running stitch. A running stitch is a straight stitch. You can see my needle going up through the top and back down through the top to the bottom and up again. The running stitch is going to make a nice dashed line along the fabric piece. Once I've added all my details to the front of the little pillow, I'm ready to sew the top to the bottom. I'm going to use a blanket stitch to do that. When I sew the top and bottom together, I'm gonna leave a little opening so that I can stuff my little pillow. So here's my little opening, and I'm going to try to get that fluff in there any way I can.
It
Here,
goes
I'm just
in
using a pencil
the
to
yellow
poke it in.
bin by London.
Once your little pillow is stuffed the way that you like,
I bring
you're
them back.
going to sew that little window shut. So you need to thread your needle, holding that thread in between your fingers, setting the eye of the needle over, making a knot, and sewing that part shut. I'm going to go through the two pieces and then through the loop to get a blanket stitch. Don't forget that when you're done with your pillow and you're happy with what you've done, you're going to put all your materials back. Please put the needles back in the needle book.